The background to this particular development. And let's cross now live to our reporter Criselda Lewis, who is already outside the Randburg Magistrate's Court in Johannesburg, where Duduzane Zuma is expected to make his appearance. Well, good morning, Criselda. And is there any activity yet outside the Magistrate's Court?
Well, a very good morning to you, Sakina. Not much activity at this moment, but we're really expecting quite a lot of that in the next couple of minutes to the next hour as loads of media wait for Mr. Duduzane Zuma to arrive here, of course, appearing in this court 4 years after that collision between his car and a taxi, which led to the deaths of 2 people. You recall, of course, that Phumzile Dube had died on the scene, and months later, Nanki Mashaba died after being hospitalized. So at this point, Duduzane Zuma will appear, as I indicated in that package, just for the first time after the incident had taken place 4 years ago. Recall, of course, Sakina, as well, there had been an inquest, and that's what AfriForum had been speaking about in that interview that you conducted with Kali Kriel, indicating that there was an inquest that had taken place into the deaths of Phumzile Dube in 2014, and subsequently then Magistrate Lolita Chetty had found in that inquest that Duduzane Zuma had been responsible through his negligent actions for the death of Phumzile Dube. And at that time, in the closing arguments, if I recall, in 2014, you had Duduzane Zuma's lawyer at that point arguing that it was the weather conditions that had led to the impact between Duduzane Zuma's car and the taxi itself. Of course, the court not buying that and saying that Duduzane Zuma should be prosecuted for his actions. But despite that, the National Prosecuting Authority deciding not to prosecute Duduzane Zuma, and then came in AfriForum, the lobby group, which threatened then to go the route of a private prosecution. And then we saw the National Prosecuting Authority itself overturn, or rather backtrack, and say that Duduzane Zuma should then face a prosecution. Then this morning, he will be facing 2 charges of culpable homicide and an alternative charge of negligent driving. Sakina, also what we're expecting to happen in court this morning is that this appearance will be very short. It will last no longer than 10 minutes. We do understand that the state will ask for a postponement. They will then give a chance to the defense to look at the contents of the docket itself. They will study then what the state's case is against Duduzane Zuma. So there will be a postponement in this matter, and we're only expecting a trial date to be set in the next appearance. We'll hear what that next appearance will be in this court here this morning. So certainly when I tried to speak to the Dube family yesterday, they did not really want to speak to the media, saying that they would speak through AfriForum. We do understand, though AfriForum had informed us that the Dube family will not be in court this morning. When I spoke to Phumzile Dube's brother, he said that he might be coming to court this morning. Whether they believe that 4 years later there will finally be justice for them, certainly we'll hear if they will speak to the media as well as the Mashaba family. That remains to be seen if they will be at this court this morning.
Well, thank you so much, Criselda. And of course, we'll cross back to her later on in the show. But also, we'll be speaking to the UDM's Ngabayomzi Kwankwa, Member of Parliament. The UDM has written to Parliament, and this now relates to the Eskom inquiry. And if you remember, they tried to get Duduzane Zuma and Dudumyeni subpoena to appear before that Eskom inquiry unsuccessfully. But now they are saying, well, both of them are back in the country, so Parliament should in fact subpoena them at this stage. We will in fact be speaking to Mr. Kwankwa later on in the show, and we're going to take a short